Welcome to your weekly forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer and spiritual life coach. In these weekly videos, I go over the energy for the week ahead to help bring clarity, awareness, and allow you to really work through these energies consciously. So this week, we will be going over the energy for July 17th to the 23rd, 2023. This is the biggest week of the year astrologically. I have already posted videos going over the energy that is taking place this week. I will post them as well in this video so that you can check them out if you have not done so. We have the nodes entering Aries and Libra. We have Venus stationing retrograde. We have the sun entering Leo. And then we have that really dynamic, if you watch that video I posted for July 2023 energy, where we have Mars opposing Saturn, we have Pluto we have the nodes entering Aries and Libra, creating that T-square exact to Pluto, which is very intense energy. So that is all taking place this week. All the energy I've been talking about the last couple of months is happening now. So we are going to get into all of that. If you align with my energy and you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the post notification bell so that you can get notified every time I upload a new episode. Before I get into the weekly forecast, I want to bring to your awareness that Venus is in 2 yods this week. Starting right off July 17th on Monday, Venus is going to reach that 28-degree point where she is going to station retrograde on the 22nd. She's going to stay at that 28-degree point, I believe, for 11 days. This is quite significant because while she is at that 28-degree point, she is in 2 yods. She's in a yod. She is the apex of a yod to Neptune retrograde and Pluto. She's also part of a yod with the nodes, where she is with the south node, Neptune, and then Venus. And so she's in 2 yods. And this speaks to me where a lot this week when we're talking about Venus energy and the fact that Venus is going to station retrograde on the 22nd, so on Saturday. This is where there's some realizations taking place this week on what and who is no longer in alignment, parts of you that need to be healed, unconscious parts of you coming to your consciousness where there can be subconscious beliefs. And again, this can also be triggered with the new moon in Cancer at 24 degrees. We are having July 17th. A lot of this energy, there's just so much energy this week where there's things coming up, experiences or people. There's this realization of, and you've probably been feeling the buildup, but there's a realization of what needs to be released. Attachments, people, experiences, old jobs, family members, friends. This can show up in many different forms, but there's so much energy that is coming in for change and transformation and transition around Venus themes and topics, which Venus can represent money, material possessions, but what really speaks to me with this Venus energy is what you truly need, want, and desire, how you want to be loved and how you love, what you need on a soul level, and that realization that what you're putting out and getting back and receiving is not in alignment. And so if there is aspects of your life where you've been putting other people first, or you haven't been taking care of yourself, it's being highlighted, where there's a realization of that now, where you've been selling yourself short, where you haven't been loving yourself. Venus represents our self-love, our self-worth. And so we will be moving through a lot of that energy, especially while Venus is retrograde. It's all being activated this week. So I want you to be aware of what is showing up for you. This can be where there is unconscious parts of yourself coming to your conscious mind, where you realize you've been running on certain programs or subconscious beliefs, stemming from childhood, the new moon in Cancer can really activate that, because the Cancer can represent the past, family, childhood. And so it's coming right into the week on the 17th, when we have that new moon in Cancer, is when we really have this activated, where starting off the week, the fact that we have Venus and 2 yachts, we have that new moon in Cancer, just be aware of what is showing up for you. What programs and subconscious beliefs have you been running on, where maybe they've been toxic for you in a sense, or you've been selling yourself short, or feeling like you need to put people before you. This is all coming to the awareness this week. And so I really wanted to mention that before we kind of get into the weekly forecast, is the fact we do have Venus in those 2 yachts. This can also represent things that are unknown for us, because it's a yacht, because it is an in conjunction between Venus, Neptune, and Pluto. This really speaks to me as Pluto representing getting to the bottom of the subconscious mind, the subconscious beliefs and programs. Neptune representing spiritual change, tapping into your intuition. And then Venus really representing the themes and topics that this is associated with, where it is your self-love, it's your self-worth, where maybe you have not been giving yourself what you truly need, want, and desire, becoming aware of that, and then also becoming aware of what needs to be let go of, and making those changes. Neptune can also represent the fact that this is very unknown and foreign to you. This is new energy, so it does require you to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. So coming into the week, July 17th on Monday, we have the new moon in Cancer, 24 degrees. I did post a video about that where I go into all 12 rising signs. You can check that out. I don't want to get into too much of that energy because I did already talk about it. But like I kind of mentioned before, what really speaks to me with this new moon in Cancer is an activation of those subconscious beliefs that stem from childhood or the past that you are now becoming aware of, and realizing that it's just not in alignment with you anymore. And so this new moon in Cancer can activate that energy. We also have on Monday, the 17th, the nodes entering Aries and Libra. This is a huge energetic shift. I also posted a video about this. You can check that out. I will tag it at the end of this video, but the nodes represent our soul's journey. The nodes are very fated, very karmic energy. The north node represents the direction we are moving into, almost like this magnetic pull towards. However, the north node is very unknown. It's where we really need to try new things that are out of our comfort zone, but it really is the direction that our soul wants to take. The south node represents what we are comfortable with, what is known to us, but the south node can also represent things, experiences, people, something that really needs to be let go of or released. And what we want to do is try to create a happy, healthy balance between the south node and the north node. So when the nodes are transiting through our birth chart, this really represents areas of our life that are going to go through some type of sudden change. It can be sudden change, but it can be unexpected changes. So not necessarily things that are ripped away, or, it's not like necessarily a Uranian energy, but the nodes represent the eclipses. And this energy plays out when we have ecliptic activations. This can play out over 6 to 12 months, sometimes even longer, depending on how long the eclipse is. Now, because it plays out for such a long period of time, and because the nodes are in those signs for roughly 18 months, this is an area of life that's going through change in that time period. And so this is just where when an astrologer does a solar return reading or looks at, changes that are happening in your life, they always look at the nodes, or most astrologers should be looking at the nodes, because that's going to really represent where massive changes are going to be taking place, or where some type of change is going to be taking place. And so I will be posting a video about the nodes, because I have had a couple of you comment about, what does it mean when I'm going through a nodal reversal or a nodal return. So I'm going to be creating a video about nodal returns and nodal reversals so you can get an idea of what that means for you. But with the nodes entering Aries and Libra, it's a shift in energy. I mentioned in that Aries and Libra video about how Mars and Venus are basically switching places because the North Node has been in Taurus and the South Node has been in Scorpio. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. Now, Mars will be the ruler of the North Node. Venus will be the ruler of the South Node. And so I've also mentioned that with the North Node entering Aries, this can really represent and signify people going through, this self-discovery journey, wanting to take their power back and really harness their personal power, develop that personal power, step into the self-discovery, self-development journey. The South Node in Libra can represent relationships needing to be, relations where we kind of realize relationships in our life that are no longer in alignment, but also where we realize experiences and aspects of our life that are not in alignment that we need to really balance that energy out. Libra represents balance. It's the scales. So this is a time period where we can be going through a realization of what and who is no longer in alignment and what needs to be and who needs to be let go of so that we can step into ourself, so that you can become the greatest version of yourself. And that is what this nodal journey in Aries and Libra can really signify. Now, collectively, on a global level, this is where Aries can represent war, conflict, aggression. We are seeing that in the world. That can step up. I don't want to ever push fear, but it's something to be aware of that we are coming into that energy. So we want to be aware of that. I like to focus more on individual levels because I like to focus more on self-development and self-discovery using the astrology. But I do want to bring to your awareness that that is energy that we can all be moving through collectively, is the powers that be, becoming more aggressive, war, conflict, being more prominent in our life. Individually, this is where we want to take our power back. This is where we are stepping into the self. Taking that self-discovery, self-development journey. As soon as we have the nodes enter Aries and Libra, that T-square to Pluto comes exact. So this is where the energy of transformation becomes intense. Pluto can represent psychological transformation. Pluto can represent really getting to the bottom of what needs to change. Really healing on a psychological and spiritual level. Pluto can also represent power, control. And so we want to be aware of what is showing up. You may have felt the buildup to this already because we've been in this energy. The thing is that once the nodes enter Aries and Libra, this energy comes exact. So there is this shift where I know what I need to let go of. I know what these attachments are. I know who and what is no longer in alignment with me. And so that's a lot of the energy that we are moving through this week. And while we have the nodes exact at that 29-degree point, forming that T-square to Pluto. You can also check out that video that I posted. I will tag it at the end of this video, but I posted, or maybe I'll tag it right at the top here if you look at the top, but the July 2023 significant energies, I went over that chart. So if you want to know a little bit more about that energy, you can check out that video. But it's coming exact this week. And so we really want to be aware and be mindful and have the awareness of what is showing up for you intuitively, physically, emotionally. On Wednesday, we have the sun forming a trine to Neptune, so July 19th. This is really beautiful energy to utilize when it has to do with your creativity, your intuition, and expressing yourself, because the sun, now remember, we are coming off of that new moon in Cancer, so we will have the activations of that. So even what has been activated with that new moon in Cancer, whatever has come in for you, this is where you can really receive downloads downloads, intuitive downloads to help guide you through that energy. This is also energy to utilize when it has to do with your creativity. So if you are wanting to create something, this is amazing energy for that. This is a really good day to pay attention to your intuitive downloads and journal. Pay attention to what is showing up for you intuitively, especially if you are wanting to create something or looking for ideas around anything really, and how you're wanting to express yourself. So this is a really good day for meditation and journaling. Now on Thursday, the 20th, we have both malefic planets opposing each other. So Mars in Virgo is opposing Saturn retrograde in Pisces at 6 degrees. This is where we have conflict. This can show up as aggression, anger, something that is unbalanced in these areas of life. So if you know where you have Virgo and Pisces, this can help kind of give you an idea of the themes and topics this can be working with you. For example, let's say if you have Virgo in the first house and Pisces in the seventh, this may signify something coming in for you when it has to do with you, how you are expressing yourself, and the people in your life, relationships, partnerships. This can be a realization of what is not in balance. Now, what we want to watch for, because Mars is in Virgo, is being over analytical, being over critical, not just with others, but with yourself. This can be where maybe you are being too hard on yourself for the commitments and the responsibilities that you have in your life, and kind of realizing that at this point, because Saturn does represent responsibilities, commitments. Saturn can also represent boundaries. This is where boundaries can be overstepped. So on Thursday, we want to just be aware of how we are expressing ourselves physically, the physical expression, and where there's things showing up, people, experiences, there's energy coming in that is not balanced. We want to make sure that we do have the awareness so that we are not working unconsciously. On Friday is where we have a lot of interesting energy. We have the Sun oppose Pluto. So again, check that video out, because this is basically the day of the chart I go over. We have the node squaring Pluto. We have the Sun opposing Pluto. And then we have the Moon moving away from Mars. We have Mars and Saturn in this opposition. So come Friday, there is a lot of intense energy coming in that we really need to be aware of. At the same time, though, we have Mercury forming a trine to Chiron, where it's like, as we have this intense energy coming in, these experiences or conflict, this aware of imbalance, there's things coming in where we become aware of what is not in balance in our life. Mercury representing our mind, Chiron representing healing, Chiron representing those past vulnerabilities, wounds, and traumas. This is where there's almost a realization of the unconscious programs you've been moving through, and the fact that you become aware of it, because Mercury represents the mind. Once you become aware of it, the game changes, because awareness is key. When we're running on these unconscious programs is where they keep replaying in our life. Once we become aware of them, we can change them. We can start to heal. And that's a lot of this energy on Friday with Mercury forming that trine to Chiron. It's like becoming aware of those wounds and vulnerabilities and traumas that have been controlling your life, because you haven't even really been aware of the fact that you're still hanging on to it or still working on that program. So we want to have the awareness on Friday of that, and also just the intense energy that is showing up. Journaling, I highly recommend journaling so that you can keep track of what is showing up for you, what is coming in, so that later on you can reflect back. On July 22nd is on Saturdays when we have Venus station retrograde. So a lot of the energy I kind of talked about at the beginning of this video, where we have this realization of who and what is no longer in alignment. And it is like we become aware of it on Friday. July 21st is where it really comes in, where we have this awareness of what we've been doing, how we've been living, this negative self-talk, where we have not been taking care of ourselves. Once Venus stations retrograde is when that all becomes, where we're reprogramming that energy. And so at the same time, on the 22nd, on Saturday, we have the sun enter Leo. So we now have the sun in its home sign of Leo, really bringing some beautiful energy in and supportive energy to make those changes, to really focus on the self, to really focus on how we want to change, to really bring us the courage to change, bring us the courage to release those attachments, to release people and experiences and things that are no longer in alignment, and start focusing on developing our healthy sense of self. The sun is bringing in support and light for Venus to move through these energies. July 23rd on Sunday, we have Mercury form a square to Uranus. And so this is where we can really have some unexpected information or even an unexpected shift in mindset. So honestly, like, my recap of the week is I want to bring awareness to the fact that, Venus and Chiron will both be retrograde for about a month together. Chiron stays retrograde until December, the end of the year 2023. But while Venus and Chiron are forming a trine together, both retrograde, this brings in beautiful supportive energy for change, for healing, to really heal those subconscious beliefs, patterns, and parts of yourself, to shift and transform and heal and develop that self-love, self-worth, that healthy sense of self. And so this is a pretty intense week this week. This is the change that we've kind of been talking about and going over, and I will probably post a little bit more about it throughout the week, going over some of the energy. I like to feel how the energy, I like to get into the energy and really feel it, and then sometimes if I feel like I need to post more on the energy once I'm in it, I do so. But also follow me on TikTok, because I post on TikTok where I'm almost posting, I'm doing those daily. I haven't posted daily on TikTok for a while, but I will be getting back into it, where I'm posting daily on the energies and the shifts that are taking place. So I would love to hear your comments below, certain things that are showing up for you. But we are starting this transformational time, individually and collectively. So I hope that you all enjoy this weekly forecast video. We are about to go through some major energetic shifts. And like I always say, with awareness is key. When we move through these energies consciously, we are able to utilize them more effectively. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you in the next one.